Tonight is the first quarter moon, and I'm using my Meade ETX 105 Microsoft telescope to look at it. And doing this with two eyepieces. Eyepieces are important as the telescope. I'm using a Orion Expanse 6mm 66 degrees eyepiece and one TMB Planetary 2 6mm eyepiece. So they're quite close. This one is 66 degrees field of view. This one I think is around 62 degrees. And I have used them both at the very swapping them between the eyepieces very quickly. And they're not parafocal. First thing is that you have to adjust slightly, not much, but just slightly. The first thing that I noticed using this is that is field of view is wider with the Orion Expanse. You can feel that is a bit wider. Second, you will notice is that there is some kind of kidney bean effect visible if your eye is not exactly at the center. With this one, you don't have such a problem. It's like looking through a keyhole or something like that. And second thing is that both of them almost deliver similar images. I tried to swap as quick as possible to see what's the difference between them. I couldn't see in the first try as much difference. Then gradually I noticed that this one is a tad sharper. I'm looking at a Hyginus lava tube in the center of the disk of the moon, a little bit above the center. And what I could see was that this one shows any detail that you can see here, but this one, on some areas, it shows a slightly sharper image. Looking with this is more relaxing. Looking at this is a little bit finicky because of that issue of with the eye placement. Of course, it doesn't have a rubber eye guard. I lost it over somewhere. I don't know where it is. But this one has everything in it, including ability to actually rise this upward or downward. Beside of course, the rubber eye guard that it exists also in this. What is interesting is that I've noticed in many occasions is that this eyepiece is very similar to TeleVue Radiant. Very comfortable to view. It's color free. It doesn't have anything to bother the eye. At the same time, I feel that the price point of this is very good. This one you can buy it in America for $49, I think. And this is one of the good ones anyway. And this one I bought it for £19, which is around $25 near that. But now it has increased because of the short supply due to the COVID. Probably around £40 you can buy this. So it means around $55, yeah. A little bit less field of view, but more comfortable to look through. This one is a bit finicky. The lens almost looks the same size. This one is slightly bigger probably again. And the coating, as far as I can see, the coating on this one is a bit red tinge. This one has a bit red tinge with green tinge. Both of them have the green tinge also. This one, which one I prefer to observe it? I like the challenge. I like to see with this one. It looks very nice and feels very nice in hand. This one is also good. Looks a little bit more premium, and 4 degrees smaller. You can see the field of view is a little bit smaller, but good value. I like both of them. Okay, now I'm using the Orion Expanse 9mm eyepiece and compare it with the TMB Planetary 2 9mm. Kidney beaning exists with this one, slightly with this, not much, but major with this. But the image quality of this Orion 9mm is superb compared to this. This one gets a little bit soft. This one excellent, sharp. So in this focal length 9mm Orion Expanse is better than the TMB Planetary in my telescope with my eye in this weather condition that I'm looking, and I really like it. 9mm kidney bean. Obviously that didn't have the kidney bean, but when you put your eyes in the correct position, image is sharp, razor sharp. And with this one you can see slightly kidney bean also with this one, but doesn't put me off. Yeah, the sharpness of this is 50 to 60% of the center image is sharp, absolutely sharp. The rest of it gets a little bit out of focus, and you can see some blue tinge around the limb of the moon. Now I got this 9mm again into the eyepiece holder, and I'm looking at the image. The image is very sharp, almost to the 80% of the field of view, which is 62 degrees, 4 degrees less than the Orion Expanse. There is not much color fringe, blue color fringe. There's a little bit, but not as much as the Orion Expanse 9mm. And it gets sharp, very close. If I say that Orion Expanse is 10, this is almost 9.8 sharp. But this one is easier to look through because field of view is easier. The whole field of view, you can see it, and then is more comfortable. There is no kidney bean in this one, or almost there is no. Okay, I stand by my original assessment. Which one I prefer? Orion Expanse 9mm is definitely sharper by a tad. In most objects, most targets on the moon is very good. Both of them are very similar, but on very finer details, 9mm Orion Expanse displays more. So hands up for this one. This is good. This is good also, excellent, and doesn't have much kidney beaning unlike this one. But the sharpness in this one is exceptional. It's really good. Okay, now I'm digiscoping with the Orion Expanse 9mm. As you can see, the image is very sharp. I like this sharpness. Of course, what you see in the video is different to what I can see visually. It's much more sharper when you look visually. Also, because of that eye placement problem that I mentioned, it's not as easy as other eyepieces that I have to hold the camera against the eyepiece. But this is the image sharpness that I can see. Probably 80% of the image sharpness that I could see. Now I'm looking with the TMB Planetary 2 9mm, 62 degrees, 4 degrees narrow field of view. It's much easier to hold the camera against the telescope, as you can see. And that means that the image is looking in this video sharper, or visually they were very close. Orion Expanse was sharper visually, of course. The video position is not exactly. I cannot hold the video, the camera against the eyepiece as good as I put my eye against the eyepiece. I don't have much control over this as much as I have over my own eye. Thanks God. Okay, I must explain something. I have made videos with the Orion Expanse 9mm and TMB Planetary 2 9mm also. Holding the camera with TMB was easier than this, although the image in this one is sharper, but because of that finicky position it's a little bit difficult. Not as difficult as some of the eyepieces that I have seen, but in this one compared to this, holding the camera against the eyepiece, imagine that is your eye, it was easier. With this one the image was very slightly sharper than this, but in the video when I took it, you can see that the resulting video in this one is better quality, simply because the kidney beaning in this one is less than this. I just want to show you something. This telescope, when I bought it, it had some fungal damage to the optics. The meniscus of the maxis of design had a lot of fungi inside. So when I twist it, the whole thing comes off. You don't need to remove the individual, the meniscus. The whole cell holding this metal part comes off. You just twist it, it comes off. You don't need to fidget with this ring around where the letter is written. Don't do that. The whole thing came off, and I just cleaned it with a this rubbing alcohol that we use for disinfection during the COVID is a proper now, and that really helped this, and the fungal is gone. It's clear.